could feel beauty rising.
Hi, my name is Sue Skasky with Vermont Volunteer Services for Animals Humane Society, and welcome to our show For the Animals. Today we have Adam Steinberg joining us, and Adam, some of you may know, he has a business called Yoga to Go, and you work out of?
I work out of Canaan, but I travel throughout Vermont, New Hampshire, bringing yoga to the people.
And you have over 1,000 hours of training, like you said, Vermont and New Hampshire, offering yoga class and stress reduction classes to companies, schools, and individuals.
Yes.
Sounds exciting.
It's very peaceful.
Yeah, and recently, the Valley News did a great write-up on you.
Oh, was it great, Sue? Tell me more.
I just happened to have it. It was in the Life and Leisure section, and it says, "A life turned right side up," and beautiful photographs of Adam doing yoga on the water. And where is that?
That picture is on Lake Sunapee.
That is absolutely beautiful.
But I brought paddleboard yoga to many, many lakes this summer.
And what is paddleboard yoga?
A paddleboard is similar to a surfboard, a little bigger, and you generally stand on it while you paddle.
That sounds like it takes a lot of balance.
It does, it does. So with the yoga, you toss the paddle aside and do your poses.
Wow.
And it's very peaceful.
Do you do it early morning, afternoon?
Early mornings or early evenings are best when the water is calm.
What a peaceful, relaxing time that must be.
The sound of the ripples under the board, especially at the end for the deep relaxation.
Uh-huh.
It's so nice.
Wow. And then you have a picture here working with a woman.
At the Upper Valley Aquatic Center in White River Junction.
Okay.
And I also currently bring yoga to the VA, to the employees there.
No kidding.
And there's some folks working on a grant so I can bring yoga to the veterans.
That's great.
It's very nice.
And then another one, Yoga Man helps Canaan Man turn life right side up. Is that the picture? Is that a picture of you? Or
That's a picture of me.
Looks very peaceful.
It's wonderful being on the water.
And it's summertime. I so miss summertime. Okay. I met you online. Somebody had said that you were a very interesting person. You had your own business, Yoga to Go, and that you were very interested in animal issues. I thought, gotta look this man up. And I found out we share a lot of common interests with animals.
Yes, we do, Sue.
I know.
We don't eat them, first of all.
That's right, I don't. Although I do have to say I'm still doing anchovies, but got to find a substitute for the Caesar salad. But you were not always vegetarian.
No, I wasn't always vegetarian. I grew up eating meat. My parents, my neighborhood, you know, everybody says that you need protein and animals are the only way to get it. And it's basically a marketing blitz by the USDA and the dairy and meat industry. None of it's true. It's just that it's a billion-dollar industry.
My pharmacist was actually the one a couple of years that said to me, protein is overrated. You're going to get your protein from your food combinations. And then you and I were talking earlier, okay, huge animals, giraffes, hippopotamus, elephants. Where do they get their protein?
A friend of mine who's a nutritionist says if we eat 2 pounds of greens every day, we'll get everything we need.
Really?
That may leave out a few oils, but I mean, it definitely covers the protein.
So you will find protein in what sort of foods?
Spinach. There's some in kale. There's all sorts of proteins in various grains. And when I say grains, I specifically mean to not include corn, you know, GMO corn, which is at some point going to overrun all the organic corn.
Genetically modified corn.
Yes.
Which, you know, talk about that for a second. What is genetically modified corn and why is it bad?
Well, there's a couple of reasons it's bad. The biggest reason is there's no scientific evidence proving that it's safe. They've done tests, but we've only been eating it for, I think, at least the corn, approximately 20 years, which is very short term. And it does affect insects. It affects everything up the food chain, right up and right up to us. And the strangest thing about it is it allows the corn to grow amidst being sprayed with pesticides. And I don't know about you, but I'm not a big fan of having my food poisoned before I eat it.
Isn't it banned in Europe?
It's banned everywhere except America.
No, seriously?
Sure.
Genetically modified? I didn't understand that.
Yeah, nobody wants our food.
Oh, is that why Monsanto is so based in what, Connecticut or Massachusetts, is it?
I don't know if they're based in Connecticut or Washington.
I remember at the State House, they sent up a huge truck, bus, and they took senators and representatives down to their factory.
Ah.
That's when they were trying to really push this a few years ago.
I do know the workers in the Monsanto cafeteria specifically will not allow the GMO products into their cafeteria because they don't want to eat them.
That's very interesting. Is that, I mean, that's fact?
That's fact. I saw that in the paper about 2 months ago.
Very interesting. So with diets, and there are combinations of foods. I mean, right now, it's so easy for a person to be vegetarian. I mean, they make awesome products. Boca. I've discovered I love corn. Have you tried Quorn?
I have, and it tastes delicious. And it's even exciting that it doesn't have soy. Although I do eat tofu, I enjoy it. It's not necessarily the ideal product for men.
Soy?
Yeah, it's been traced to some prostate issues. Tempeh is healthier because it's fermented.
Love tempeh.
Tempeh is very good.
Yep.
And when it's marinated, it expands and it gets this beautiful texture. It's
you know,
very nice.
with the tofu the other night for dinner, I took it and I pressed it all during the day to take the water out, then put it in olive oil and flaxseed and grilled it outside. Oh, served with mustard. So good. We have to do a cooking show.
That would be fun.
Yeah, it really would be.
Before or after our juicing show.
We did talk about juicing at one time. Explain juicing to me.
Juicing is nice because you get the benefits, the nutrition from the vegetables without having to digest it. So your body doesn't work to break down all the fibers.
But is that good? I can't imagine that. I mean, we have teeth, we have...
Well, you can't do it long term, just like a juicing fast.
a cleansing.
A cleansing. A cleansing is fine, 7 to 10 days. And it's often recommended that people do it in corroboration with their physician. But there's this wonderful movie called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And the main character, Joe, loses close to 200 pounds on the 60-day juice fast.
Oh.
And that's what really got me into juicing. It was very motivating. I've always eaten healthy.
Right.
But watching this movie got me very fired up about juicing. So it's a great way to get the nutrients into your body without having to take on all that extra work.
So this person lost 200 pounds in 60 days?
Yeah.
And it was healthy?
Yeah, he looked great, a different person.
Wow.
And he meets this truck driver along the way, and the truck driver wasn't quite ready to be converted. But when Joe got back to Australia, which is where he was from, he just came to America to make this 60-day fast and drive across country. The truck driver called him and asked Joe to come back. So he came back and he helped the truck driver get on track to do this juicing fast.
Wow.
And the truck driver loses well over a couple hundred pounds. It's amazing. It's a wonderful movie.
So what sort of products do you put in a juicer?
My favorite and easiest juice is carrot, apple, and celery. And this morning I wasn't feeling quite 100%, so I added a whole lemon, a peeled lemon, with some fresh ginger.
We just, now that I've started, I'll probably forget the third ingredient, but we had somebody on who talked about lowering cholesterol. Grape juice, it's grape juice, apple juice, and vinegar. 1 cup to, I want to say a quarter cup, and you drink 2 ounces, and don't hold me on all these specifics, but 2 ounces every day, and your cholesterol is lowered.
It sounds a lot healthier than taking drugs.
Yeah, no kidding. With all the side effects.
Yes.
Yeah. I'd like to talk about a couple of the issues that I know you're very passionate about and that a lot of people have been aware of. This past summer, I know that Barnum and Bailey brought the circus up here, and you were one of the group that went down to protest. I know what's wrong with circuses, but can you talk about that?
I know with Barnum and Bailey, as well as most of the other circuses that have animals, is the training involved is usually brutal. And they have these bull hooks, especially with the elephants, where they create wounds in the animals to get them to do these feats that they're not naturally. It's not like training a dog to sit.
Right.
It's just brutal. So, and then they have tasers. They have all sorts of various devices to make the animals do things they're not inclined to do. And the other part is all the travel involved.
You know, they live most of their life inside the truck.
And or a railroad car, yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Unheated or uncooled in the summer, which is probably worse.
Yeah. They were recently slapped with one of the largest fines ever. Do you know what that was about?
I know a couple years ago, Barnum and Bailey was hit with $170,000, which was, I think, at that point, the largest fine. But when they were in Manchester, somebody actually got some videotape of them abusing another elephant. And so that, I think that case is pending now.
Good. Good. It might be wise to draft legislation where elephants cannot be brought into the state.
That would be nice. We should get on that, Sue.
Okay, we'll put on the to-do list. You were talking earlier about Dartmouth Hospital, and I know on one end, was it Dartmouth College you're trying to get to incorporate into their diet?
No, Dartmouth College, we had a protest a couple of weeks ago for Primate Liberation Week.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. Okay.
Dartmouth College has 7 primates up on campus that they poke and prod and do horrible things to.
Are they permanent residents there, or?
I would imagine they're permanent until they mistreat them and they die, yes.
Was this with the New Hampshire Animal Rights League, or?
Yes.
Okay. I've met them. They've been on the show. Very nice, dedicated people.
Wonderful people.
Linda Dion?
Yes. They just had a fur protest down in Concord last week, 2 weeks ago.
I take my hat off to them. Good for them, because this is all a volunteer.
Yes, it's a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, but you were talking about the Dartmouth Hospital and research before the show.
I was trying to start a conversation with the hospital about why their offerings do not include non-meat and non-dairy alternatives. So, for example, I'm there often Wednesday mornings, and they don't even have any non-dairy yogurt. So everything they have is catered towards, basically, I think, government subsidies.
Oh, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, the USDA and the meat and dairy industry, they're so involved with all their foods going to these institutions. That's why school lunches are so unhealthy, although now there seems to be more knowledge about that, and hopefully they will change.
You mean ketchup is not considered a vegetable anymore? They couldn't get away with that? But I know a patient in Dartmouth, and it's not on the menu, which completely blows me away, can request a veggie burger. And it's outrageous. It's a black bean veggie burger, but it's not on the menu.
No, I suspect maybe those menus are reviewed by
the Agency of Agriculture.
The Agency of Agriculture, that's correct, Sue.
Who was responsible for the change of the from the circle to the pyramid?
Yes.
How many millions of dollars went into that, and what did it do?
More of the same.
More of the same. Same old, same old.
I suspect that's why the emails between myself and the director of nutrition were very vague. Although that's not quite true. My half of the conversation was very specific, and I was asking questions. Why are these products not offered? And I didn't get a yes or no answer, and I didn't get any reasons why. It was very vague. It was almost like her emails were being monitored, and she couldn't really divulge any information one way or the other.
I think you've probably hit the nail on the head.
Either that or she's coming up for a political election.
Or just trying to keep her job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. One thing that we worked on, which was very heartbreaking to me, was the whole issue about Bill and Lou at Green Mountain College, the two oxen that had lived there 7 years? 7, 8 years?
7 or 10 years, yeah. They've been there a while.
And one of them had hurt their leg. And this raised awareness across the world. I know that a petition was formed, and it actually gathered thousands and thousands of signatures to try and convince the college to let this oxen that had well served the college with his partner to live, rather than, initially they wanted to slaughter them and feed them to the students. And there was a big uprising about that. But in that whole time, one of the things that upset me, they didn't give the oxen any pain medication. So that could have been withheld intentionally, not wanting to contaminate the animal with pain medication before it was to be slaughtered. But we had women here from a sanctuary called Vines out of Springfield, Vermont, and they offered to care for both oxen for the rest of their natural life. But the college president was adamant that he wanted them slaughtered. Now, I know you went up there for a protest. Can you tell me about that day?
There was a lot of emotions around that topic. There was one very nice student speaking with us who was a vegetarian. He could see both sides. He could see both our side of trying to save those devoted animals who served the college for 10 years, and now we're going to be put down. But he could also see, and I'm not sure I can quite explain the other side, because it's perplexing. These students, they eat in their cafeteria, and the meat in the cafeteria is factory farmed. So it's, you know, another government program. The meat comes in. So I'm not exactly sure how eating two animals that are grown on their farm can suddenly change all that terrible meat they've been eating all year.
Well, another thing that was pointed out, 10-year-old meat has very little nutritional value. There was no, they couldn't support it with a logical argument about serving them. And so finally, in the end, they euthanized, which I think is just bizarre way of saying they killed the animal. I'd like to know how, and they're not telling anyone how they humanely euthanized the steer. And then where was his companion? And what's his companion going through now? But it was the college president that was just absolutely belligerent. We tried contacting him numerous times. Senator Vince Aluzzi, who is no longer senator, but he is a state attorney. He's wonderful. He approached them with an offer to purchase the animals for $7,000, and the college president declined. So, very sad. But I do truly think, with the attention that that whole issue got, that there will be ramifications to Green Mountain College, and it's a shame that one person or a very small group of people could act so irresponsibly in the face of this whole issue, because a college president and its trustees, they're charged with raising money for the college. What do you think this whole issue has done to their credibility?
Well, good press or bad press, it still raises awareness about an institution. So, so people that are meat eaters that claim to be environmentalists might be drawn to that sort of an institution, but I mean, meat is like one of the greatest, raising livestock is one of the greatest polluters on this planet.
Absolutely. And we talked too about if you took, let's say, 10 acres of land and you grew grain, how many more people you could feed than by putting one animal on that same area compared to the number of animals, number of people that one animal slaughtered would feed.
Many, many.
Many, many. And that's why Oxfam, I'd love to do a show about Oxfam, where we're actually promoting putting animals into countries that would not normally have them for meals. We are taking up their land. It's a starvation of these countries that I think is very calculated, but that's for another conversation.
I don't know the exact numbers, but something like every hour, another acre of rainforest is cut down to raise either livestock or grain to feed the livestock.
Yeah. It's, there's so many different conversations that we could have about these subjects, and I'd like to insert different articles about topics we've talked about. So I'd like to thank you at this point for coming, Adam, and doing this show.
Thank you very much.
And Yoga to Go. I want to, you know, we were talking earlier, weddings, baby showers, in the summertime on the beaches, on the water.
On the mountaintops, anywhere.
I think it's great. So if people want to get in touch with you and learn more about the issues we've talked about today or about Yoga to Go, we'll put your contact up there.
603-667-7915.
There you
Thank
go.
you, sir.
Thank you, Adam, for coming, and thank you for watching For the Animals. And please join us again next week.
At dusk, there came a turning. There was a moment when all was known. You could feel beauty rising on the breeze, the shapes, the stone, and I would ride upon the breeze that shapes the stone across the sky and